Hey, what's up everybody? This is Like It's 1985, and today we are going to take a look at Transformers 4 Age of Extinction. This is the ToysRus exclusive featuring Strafe and a actual bonus figure, and it's a 2-pack. And as you can see, I do want to show off the actual packaging here because it's actually quite interesting and unique. You can see here we have Strafe in robot mode. There is the bonus figure that comes with Strafe. There is the weaponry there. And if you look at the side profile, you can see it's pretty wide packaging. And you do have this kind of retro Transformers vintage 1980s look to it on the side here. On the top here you do have that grid pattern again, kind of a throwback to the 1980s Transformers packaging. And you do have a really nice picture of Strafe there, looking pretty cool. So there you go, packaging for the Evolution 2-pack, ToysRus exclusive. Okay, so let's first take a look at the Minicon figure that comes with this set. As you can see, it is a pterodactyl, and it's very G1 looking in terms of its coloring and its alt mode. Not much to it, so let's go ahead and transform it. So, as you can see, I'm going to rotate that down. This part comes up like that. And then we want to actually separate the wings. There's a part of the wing that tabs in there, like that. Comes back, these come down and rotate out the feet, and then as you can see there are notches right there, and there's tabs right there on the blue section there. They're supposed to notch together, and you can see once they get connected here and tab into the slot there, the lower section is all one piece, there's no articulation, and then you want to bring these down like that. You can see they are on a swivel and a ball joint. But as far as this mode here, pretty basic. In fact, the whole figure is pretty basic. There's just some sculpting there on the side, so nothing too fancy. I guess it's kind of nice, but it's kind of weak at the same time. So it is what it is, right? So let's move on to the main attraction. Okay, so we're going to first have a look at the Dino mode for Strafe. Now, I do have a problem with this figure in Dino mode on a surface or on the ground like it is right now. It really doesn't look good posed on a surface. The reason being, I think, is there is no joint at the knees here in Dino mode. Just the way that the legs are designed to transform into robot mode, that means here in Dino mode there is no knee articulation. And I think that really could use knee articulation in order to get the figure to crouch down lower. As it is, it really looks like it's just the robot mode bent over forward. So that is unfortunate. However, the story is different if it's displayed on an action base in the air. Like if you have a clear stand or some kind of stand to prop the figure up, then I think it definitely looks better in flight or on a stand in flight mode. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a stand, but I've seen one reviewer display his figure with the figure on a clear display base, and it actually looks pretty good in flight mode. But here on the ground, on the surface, there's not much you can do. I did take a look on the internet for some pictures, and so far I haven't seen any pictures that could really pose this guy well when he's in Dino mode on the surface. Now imagine, if you will, this figure displayed on an action base of some kind to get it basically suspended in the air. Kind of just imagine the figure here without my hand, and you can see it doesn't look half bad. It looks much better in the air actually than it does standing on the ground. So definitely, if you can find yourself a action base of some kind. I don't know, I saw a review by Shartimus Prime. I don't know what stand he used or how he got it connected, but it looked pretty good, and it definitely makes the figure look better if you have a stand to display the pterodactyl here in flight mode off the surface in the air. And of course, you may have noticed the fact that there are 3 weapons plugged into this pterodactyl mode. There is the crossbow back here that's plugged into the back, and then you have the 2 swords here plugged on the underside of the wings. Now we'll take a closer look at these weapons when we get to robot mode. But for now, I just wanted to show you how it looks without the weapons on there. Although it is nice, you can actually plug them in and store them in the beast form. But there you go, looked at pterodactyl mode without the weapons on there. Looks a bit cleaner, I think. So let's go ahead and take a look at the details of the figure. Starting with the heads here, very nice head sculpts. You do have articulation here at the jaws. So you do get that kind of effect in terms of posability, which is kind of nice. You do have a swivel at the neck there, and then there's actually a swivel at the base of the neck as well in terms of articulation. The wings themselves, nicely sculpted, nicely detailed. You got some blue fading into silver. Nice big Autobot symbol there on the wings. That's really nice. You got these sculpted ridges or spines, I guess. Just nice detail there on the edge of the wings. The claws here are very nice. Very cool. In terms of articulation in the wings, you do have the tip of the wing here. They can rotate in and out like that. You do have swivel, as you can see there, and kind of this motion here. Little pivot there, back and forth. So you do have articulation there. Nicely sculpted tails here. These tails are made of rubber-like plastic, really pliable, and then you got a swivel there at the base of the tail. Looking at the underside here, nice sculpting detail here on the chest, as well as the legs. In terms of articulation, you can see there is a swivel waist. You got ball jointed hips. You have a swivel at the knee, but no real bend. And that's what I was complaining about before. When you have the actual beast form on the ground, you really can't do much to make it look good, in my opinion. And then you have the claws back here, which do rotate and move for transformation. So there's your look at the beast form of Strafe here. So next we'll take a look at the transformation into robot mode. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is the legs. You want to take the legs here, rotate them down and around. Now, as for the arms are actually pegged onto the wings, so you want to release those. And then bring down the arms. There actually is the head here. I'm going to rotate this up like that. And then these bits should actually fold in. There's a joint there. And they become part of the chest / shoulder armor, which is really a cool look. Now, for the wings, they tell you to rotate them. I'll take a look back here. Rotate them so that they kind of go something like this, so everything is as compact as possible, something like that. That pretty much is the transformation into robot mode. However, personally, I don't like that look myself. So what I like to do is I like to keep the wings out. I think it looks better myself. It does take up a lot of shelf space if you're planning on displaying the figure close to every other figure you might have in your collection, but I think it looks a lot better. But I guess for the sake of the review, let's keep it as Hasbro tells us it should be. So something like that on the back, and then you got the tail sticking out here. So, of course, same detail as in the beast form here. I do like the how the heads here formed, like the shoulder armor and torso parts for robot mode. I think that's really cool. You can take a look at the head sculpt there. It really looks like a knight. It's pretty cool. Head, as you'd expect, is on a ball joint, it seems. Yep. Then you have the same shoulder articulation. You can actually articulate the shoulder up and down, swivel at the bicep, or really, yeah, that's a bicep, and then kind of a bend here at the elbow. Now the wrist articulation is interesting. If we take a look at the underside of the arm, you can see it's just a swivel. It swivels like this, which is kind of useless. And furthermore, you can see there's a bunch of space here that you could think that the actual wrist could have been engineered such that it could bring the hand inside of that space and kind of hit that during the beast form. So I don't know why that was designed like that, because there really is not much use to this swivel joint here, and it looks like it could have been engineered such that the hand could articulate into the hollow part of the arm there. There is a swivel waist right there. You have ball jointed hips. You can see you have a swivel and a bend at the knee, and that is all you have for articulation, because below this point here there is no articulation. It's one solid piece of plastic. Now, I did not notice this until now, but there actually is a slot and a tab that actually locks this piece here together with the leg. So you have that really secure. I did not notice that until now, but there is that feature there, which is nice. It keeps the lower part of the leg all nice and secure. And here is a look at Strafe with his Dinobot Deluxe Class brothers, Scorn and Slug. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk weaponry. First off, we'll look at the crossbow here. Fairly nicely detailed. You can see it as a missile. All you do is push on the back and the missile goes out. So nothing too fantastic about that. So as you can see, the peg does peg nicely into the peg hole in the hand, and Strafe can wield the crossbow as such. Now you can also have the crossbow stored on the peg hole, which is on the back of Strafe here. In addition to the crossbow, Strafe does come with these two swords. As you can see, they appear to be identical, and they do have a peg. So Strafe can hold the weapon like this, or like this. And of course, he can dual wield these swords very nicely. Now, I will say that the arm articulation is very strange. I mean, you can't really get this in a nice pose because all the wrist can really do is swivel like this. So it doesn't really look great. I mean, you have to have kind of the arm like this, I guess, and it looks okay, but you think you want to have to bend it, but you can only bend it like this, and so it really doesn't quite work out. Like, sure, you can get the arm to bend like this, but then you have the hand, which doesn't rotate like you want it to, in order to get the sword to be held in a, normal position. So I'm really disappointed with the arm articulation here, especially if you want to wield the swords. Even the crossbow has the same issue because of the weird, kind of wonky arm articulation. But in certain poses you can make it look decent. Okay, so final thoughts on this figure. Well, this is how I'm going to be posing my figure on my shelf. I do like the wings extended out like this. I think it makes the figure look more dynamic. Even though that's not the correct transformation, I do realize that. I think this looks, in my personal opinion, better. So this is how I'll be displaying my Strafe here in robot mode. Now, going over the pros and the cons of the figure. Some of the cons I mentioned before, dealing with the pterodactyl mode and how it doesn't really look good on a surface or on the ground, that you really need a action base or stand of some kind to display it in flight mode. That's where it looks best. Now, I did mention also the arms. The arms have some weird, wacky articulation, so it kind of limits, I think, the posing you can do with the swords, with the crossbow. You can make it work, but it just kind of feels like it's limited in terms of what it can do. Same thing kind of goes with the legs. The legs are kind of awkward, especially here at the knees. For some reason, I had some trouble getting the figure to pose as well. So I don't know if that's just maybe me. I'm not the greatest at posing figures, so maybe somebody else can come up with a better way to pose the figure, but I think there are some issues with the legs and the arm articulation, the way it was engineered. Overall, I think the figure looks great. Definitely like robot mode better than the pterodactyl mode for sure. I absolutely love the way that the two heads form the shoulder and chest armor for this guy here in robot mode. I definitely do like the look of the head. It definitely looks like a knight's head, which is really cool. So that upper torso looks great, and like I say, I really think it looks great with these wings outspread like this. It looks fantastic. And then you have the dual swords in hand. Looks really, really cool. So this has been my review of the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Deluxe Class Strafe. Thanks for watching.